So me completely debunking them causes the most insane mental breakdown. Bro, I didn't make any of that up. I literally just copy and pasted it. You are wrong. I didn't make any of that up. I literally just copy and pasted it. You are wrong. I didn't make any of that up. I just copy and pasted it. You don't get an unfair advantage if everyone has the same access. You don't get an unfair advantage if everyone has the same access. You don't get an unfair advantage if everyone has the same access. You don't get an unfair advantage if everyone has the same access. What is it about Pokemon that makes people so toxic? You tell the Pokemon community that cheating is wrong, and 90% of them have a legitimate psychotic break. This exchange right here is so exceptional, I needed to document it for a video. You won't believe how unhinged and unwell this person is. So cheating is defined as being provided an unfair advantage. You stated about 90% of VGC players used hacked mons. Therefore, it's not cheating per definition, because everyone else is doing the same thing. So this person thinks 90% of people is 100%. Literally everyone. You don't have an unfair advantage is someone else is using the same tools and strategies. Imagine saying someone is cheating while also in the same breath not knowing what cheating is. Lol lol lol. In before knee-jerk response, I must be the only player that obtains their own Pokemon. Everyone I know uses hacked Pokemon. No, I don't consider that cheating, even though I did grind for the mons. Alright, so starting off great with a liar. No one can tolerate hundreds of hours of time and energy being completely undermined by rule breaking, to also end up with like more resources and have more advantage than them. So alright, that's a weird start, but like it's guaranteed that there's always a legitimate player trying to compete. There's also no magic number. It's not, oh, 51% of people are cheating, therefore it's no longer cheating. 92% of people are cheating, therefore it's no longer cheating. So this is just a deranged individual that is already going unhinged immediately. Reread what I said, but much slower. Out loud might help. Ah, condescension. The IQ is plummeting with every sentence. I am the legitimate player you're referring to. Except I'm not referring to you as the legitimate player. You're not the one and only legitimate player at a tournament. They can't just go, oh, I don't mind that he's using steroids against me. Don't ban him, tournament officials, just because he got caught. Like, no, you cheat, and then you get disqualified, regardless of what your opponent believes in that situation, especially in a tournament setting with hundreds of other players or a community of hundreds of thousands of players that are being disadvantaged by cheating. Due to the fact I have the same access to hacked Pokemon as everyone else. That's a lie. Hacked Pokemon aren't accessible. You have to use unauthorized third-party means, and there's also going to be different tiers of hacking. That, yeah, sure, you go on to a trade bot or a Discord or whatever, but even then that's going to be like external stuff that's not accessible. Also, there's going to be different levels of accessibility, that if you pay the server owner, Twitch sub, YouTube membership, or whatever kind of donation incentive they have, you get priority access or more access to the trade bot. And then if someone does have a hack switch and they just straight up inject Pokemon into their save files, they have like 100 times faster Pokemon acquisition than the people using trade bots. So there's already accessibility differences and advantages between using hacked Pokemon. And this is also how you can just like tell this person is straight up lying here. It's like, no, if you don't think cheating is wrong and you have equal access to hacked Pokemon as everyone else, then you're not going to get Pokemon legit. There's no reason to waste 100, 200 hours of your life and all that time and energy, because that's another big thing. That's effort. It's energy. It's tiring to get your Pokemon, so the quality of your training is going to go down. The quality of your performance is going to go down. There's multiple levels to it, aside from the insurmountable advantage of using a hacked Pokemon against someone who isn't cheating at all. It's not considered an unfair advantage. Just cuz, no, nothing to back that up, okay. Therefore, by definition, it's not cheating. That's a new level. That's a new galaxy. We're almost in a new universe of stupidity. If you have issue with the definition of the word cheat, then take it up with Webster's dictionary, not me. This person is so stupid, they cannot understand or comprehend the definition of cheating, or how, like, advantages and Pokemon legality and accessibility works. You clearly do not know what the word actually means. I just gave it to you, but you seem rather slow, so I will repeat it. Act unfairly in order to gain an advantage, especially in a game or examination. It's not unfair if you have access to the same means. That's not how rules work. And then this person is legitimately psychotic, and it only gets worse from there, because now they're like repeating themselves in multiple ways. So like, definition of cheating, it's not unfair if you have the same means, it's not unfair if you have the same means. Like, they are on a psychotic break right now. You literally stated in your video 90% of players use hacked Pokemons. Well, that means 10% of players don't have access to the hacked Pokemons, and they're being disadvantaged by it. So like, again, I don't understand like how deranged you have to be to say, oh, 90% is 100%, therefore no one's being cheated against, therefore it's not unfair. Like, this is impossible. See, like, it's not unfair if a majority of players use it. So quoting definitions at me and then just making stuff up like, oh, 51% of players, if a majority of players are cheating, then no cheating exists. That's never happened in any competition ever. The rules have never ever done that before in any sport or game. How do you gain advantage over someone who's using the same method as you? You don't. Steroids are still banned even if both competitors are using them against each other mutually, because those are the rules. That is the unfairness that comes into play. A hacked Pokemon literally removes the grind aspect, which is what makes it an advantage, because having more time and resources and energy than an opponent is going to give you a competitive advantage. What you mean to say is players break the rules, which is not synonymous with cheating. And this is how broken that person's brain is. Now, here's the problem with exceptional idiocy, that you get distracted trying to go after how stupid their argument is and like debunk the nonsense they're spewing at you, instead of going to the larger topic that kind of wins on the spot. And I do fix this later on in the discussion, but he's already too far gone at this point, let alone as we get even deeper into this argument, because all you have to do is say, well, the definition of fairness is within the rules. So the second you break the rules, it's unfair. And then if you have anything that generates an advantage by breaking the rules, it's an unfair advantage. Unfortunately, I got stun-locked by the complete nonsense of, oh, but if it's accessible, then it can't be cheating by definition, and I tunneled in on that too much. So I was like, yeah, the reason why these are unauthorized third-party tools is because not everyone has access to them. But if you want to make that argument, then everyone can use steroids. Everyone has access to steroids for sport. The reason why cheating and banned substances are so prevalent in sports is because if you want them, you can get a hold of them. It doesn't matter if they're illegal, it doesn't matter if it's against the rules. People find the connections, and they will use them if they really want to use them. So that kind of like debunks the entire argument right there. So that's what I was going for, where like if someone wants to cheat, they will. So yeah, rules don't magically go away because everyone breaks them. Like that's the insanity right here. Hacked Pokemon still give an unfair advantage if the majority cheats, since there's going to be an amount of players being disadvantaged by the cheating. Again, time and resources are objective competitive advantages, so you lose, thanks for playing. And then this comment got deleted or was like so unhinged that it got like auto-flagged by YouTube to where it's even invisible to me, which happens sometimes. But saying like you lose, thanks for playing, is 100% how you can send these people into full-on delirium. So imagine being too stupid to know the difference between breaking the rules and garnering an unfair advantage. You literally don't know the difference. And then they drop that much ha 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 ha. And I reply to that, I already proved you wrong. Time and resources are advantage. That's why you lose. Your brain just shattered. Like that's the thing. Like his brain shattered right there at being unable to cope. You literally didn't. If anything, I proved you wrong. The English language doesn't have enough depth to explain how insane these people are. Because, like, yeah, you got psychotic, you got cognitive dissonance, we have deranged, we have this delirious state they're in. And that's all I can do is, like, repeat myself for the emphasis of how crazy this person is and how stupid this person is. Like, their brain just imploded like a submarine. What's happening isn't you proving me wrong, it's you buckling down because cognitive dissonance is too hard for you to handle. And like, the projection of these idiots is also just like the highest tier. That projection doesn't describe how powerful this nonsense that's coming out of them is. You provided evidence and real definitions of how you're entirely wrong and too stupid to grasp the difference in the concept, but buckle down. Even though I debunked them with the steroid example that 90% isn't 100%, rules don't go away just because there's X amount of cheating going on. Like, the rules are still an important part here, and that's also where I messed up, because, like, that's inherent. I'm not stupid enough to where I have to manually decompile how words and definitions interact, that once you break the rules, that is inherently unfair. That fairness and rules, these are synonymous. These are tied together. So if you break the rules, then you have unfairness. And if any advantage is generated through breaking the rules, then you have the definition of cheating. That is how that web works. And this person doesn't understand any of that. Example, we're taking a test. I have the answer sheet and you do not. That puts me at an unfair advantage. I'm breaking the rules and cheating. If we are taking a test and we both have the answer sheet and you choose to not break the rules, then it isn't cheating. We have the exact same advantage. My head hurt. Like, that's the thing. Like, I am not stupid enough to be able to understand what they're even trying to get at, or how their view of the world is just this detached. If you choose to not cheat when I'm cheating, then I'm not cheating because you chose to not cheat. That is literally the logic here, and that is where they think they have the high ground to call me, like, stupid, and then go into this kind of response. In this instance, I'm just breaking the rules. The existence of choice means the non-existence of an unfair advantage. So choosing to break the rules isn't cheating because someone else wants to play by the rules. Like, that's what I mean. Oh man, I was too late to just like the entire fairness thing. This is actually one of the stupidest people I've ever interacted with, and it's such a low level of intelligence, I wasn't prepared to handle it, because my arguments at least require 70 IQ to understand, but this person is dumber than a 6-year-old because they can't even understand the definition of fair, and their entire worldview is actually just shattered by that. Another example, we were told this is an open book test, and you choose not to use your book. This would not constitute as cheating because you have the choice and choose not to. Except we are told that this is a closed book test. You open the book and then you said you could have opened the book. So it's not cheating that I broke the rules. So false equivalence, because they are too stupid to articulate anything that's rattling around in their head. And then they just like keep going off. We all have the same access to the same resources. Except we don't, which is what the rules are there for. That is to make it as accessible and as fair as possible. And this is an argument you see from the scumbags in the Pokemon community of, oh, we're just working smarter, not harder by cheating. Like, that is the mentality of these cheaters. That is how worthless these people are. I actively choose to not use hacked mons, but trainers that use them are not an unfair advantage because I have the same access. We have fair access. Like, I don't even understand how anyone can get to that point. Another incredible thing to me is when you can see a very stupid person parroting their interpretation of a sophisticated point. This person thinks that they're making a stronger point by using a verb instead of just like calling me the R word. They try to like they just throw buzzwords and soup it together to be like, ah, yes, I'm going to use the formal application of this word, and that shows that I'm more intelligent. You should get a dictionary. Libraries are free. Once again, just like that confident stupidity and condescension. No, my steroid comment debunks you. It's cheating to take steroids even though anyone can take them. That's true of all cheating. It's cheating to use an engine in online chess even though everyone has access to it. And then I debunk their weird, like, answer sheet thing, because let's say someone steals the answer sheet from the teacher and then makes copies of them and then offers it to everyone in class. It's cheating if you take that even though everyone was offered the answer sheet. So, like, this person just does not understand how their logic does not hold up at all. It's just false equivalency or just complete stupidity. Illegal resources are not accessible. By your logic, cheating can't exist for anything in life. Not everyone has access to roids. Because then, like, okay, then by the same logic, not everyone has access to hacked Pokemon. And just because they're too stupid to know how to get them, because they've never done anything inside of competition. Same thing for chess engine. I do not know how to access an engine in chess, even though every chess program has one. even free ones. Like, you just go chess.com, you open up another window, and then you put your game in that window, and you can use it to see the best moves to make. This person doesn't know how to access literally the most accessible rule breaking in all of competition, which then debunks everything it has to say about, like, oh, everyone can hack Pokemon. So if you can't figure out how to use a chess engine to cheat, then hacked Pokemon are less accessible than that. And then like this, you said it yourself, 90% of people are using hacked Pokemon. Your words, not mine. Thank you for proving me right, that someone is being disadvantaged. And then, like, how does me saying, like, oh, 90% of people are using hacked mons? Well, that's also in competition. We're going to have a majority of players abstaining because, like, well, it's all cheaters. And I don't want to, spend $70 for the tournament, hundreds of dollars for the weekend just to get cheated against. Or I don't even want to train and waste the hundreds of hours to begin with. Well, I know everyone's cheating, so I'm just not going to engage with competitive Pokemon. But there's still going to be legitimate players attempting, or legitimate players that are ignorant to how much cheating is going on. So I don't understand how this person makes the jump from 90% of competitors being cheaters to hacked Pokemon having complete 100% total accessibility to every single person. And people don't want to break the rules. So that goes back to the whole thing, like, how do you just miss that part entirely where, oh, you don't want to break the rules, there's your accessibility gate right there. Everyone having same access to the same resource means it's not cheating. It merely means you're breaking the rules. Like, bro, how? How is the cognitive dissonance so strong? How is someone so stupid that they can actually just say that back to back? There's no, like, contradiction after, like, 2 paragraphs and writing a thesis or something, then you catch that. It's like, no, this is their line of thought. This is the same stream of consciousness. Me not having access to roids or an engine means I'm at a disadvantage. So not knowing is a disadvantage. So that means all it takes is one person out of, like, the entirety of competition or the entirety of the Pokemon community that doesn't know how to use a trade bot, and now they're at a disadvantage, therefore it's cheating. You debunked yourself when you said 90% of trainers use hacked Pokemon. It wasn't 100. I personally know how to access hacked Pokemon, yet you don't know how to use an engine inside of the program that you're playing chess on, even though it's built in. Like, you have to go out of your way. It's actually, like, impossible. Like, this is how we can tell. It's like we're dealing with someone that is too stupid to know how to use an engine in chess. It's not hard. Can literally go on surprise trade and get hacked Pokemon. Except if you don't get the Pokemon you want to use, then you don't have access to it. So that's not accessible right there. Go on eBay and buy them. Well, that's just straight up against the rules. You can go on YouTube, and they're available. And see, that's the problem where you chase the idiot's logic, and then, like, you just kind of ignore the overall thing that immediately debunks them. Or, like, now this is where you just get lost in the catacombs and you go around in circles forever. We're just like, okay, sure, like, yeah, if anyone wanted to, they can join a Discord or go onto YouTube or find a trade bot or find a streamer or something and eventually get the hacked Pokemon they want in a shorter amount of time than it takes to train it legitimately. But we're only here because this person is stupid enough to believe that if everyone breaks the rules, then cheating never occurred. And doesn't even need to be everyone. It just needs to be 90% somehow. And then they arbitrarily said a majority. So what, 50, 60%? Like, once you have 51% of players cheating, now it's not cheating anymore? So, like, that's just objectively wrong. So that's, like, how you get lost against these stupid people, where it's like, no, they're just too stupid to ever admit they're wrong, to accept handling getting debunked, and then they get completely deranged in their sub-room temperature ramblings and nonsense. Like, it's impossible to keep up with. This means everyone can access them, and it isn't cheating. What a conclusion. But okay, like, anyone can, and then, like, okay, sure, then I'll have to explain it. That anyone can just go on chess.com, put in the moves that they're going up against with someone else, and now they can use the engine to find the best lines of play. Then I guess since anyone can do that, it's not cheating. Another problem is, like, they start fragmenting the argument with, like, how many layers of stupidity is going on here, so it's impossible to keep up with all that. So I go, everyone has access to chess engine since it's built into every program for analysis. They lose right there. Also, somehow they think the definition of everyone is 90% or majority. And then I finally realize my mistake and load my silver bullet. Breaking the rules is dishonest and unfair, since the expectation for competition is the competitors are playing with these same restrictions. if you are breaking the rules, it is no longer fair by the definition of fair. They lose. So I provided you the definition of cheating many times. Once again, like a misplay of, oh yeah, these idiots are just going to deflect 24/7 because the cognitive dissonance can't handle anything wrong. The terms cheating and rule breaking are related but not synonymous. Here's a breakdown of the differences. This dude just busted out ChatGPT. That's a new one. Kind of, I think. I don't know. Like, some of these ramblings, like, wait a second. Did I just get baited by, like, an LLM bot or something? There's been some weird interactions, but, like, this person just, like, straight shifted to using ChatGPT because they are too stupid to articulate their position, and they also don't know how to take in any information and process it. So they're actually, like, relying on AI and Google searches. And then you go back on the conversation like, oh, they've been doing this entire time. They got beat. They can't figure out how to handle any of my arguments. They get frustrated, and then they turn to Google and searches, and then they try to, like, break their way out of it. And now just, like, straight up inputting this conversation in ChatGPT to try to win. Because they're that stupid. Cheating. Cheating is deliberate act of deception to gain an unfair advantage, often by violating the rules in a covert or dishonest way. So, like, this is what I do. When people say, oh, ginning isn't cheating, I go, it's breaking the rules for an advantage. All ginned Pokemon are 100% illegal regardless of stats, moves, and abilities because they break the rules. The rules dictate that they are no longer legal through any modification whatsoever. So you're breaking the rules. Subverting the rules is naturally dishonest because if you admitted to it, then you would be disqualified, and the advantage is the time and resources gained by breaking the rules for a hacked Pokemon. So, like, that's the argument I use, and now I've turned that argument against one of the dumbest people I've ever seen in my life, and they have completely fallen apart and shattered. Key features. Always intentional. Typically done to gain an unfair advantage. Example, copying answers on tests. Like, oh, this dude gets into internet arguments with ChatGPT open, and he uses that to try to, like, win his internet fights. Oh my god. And, like, now it's like, oh, this is where he came up with the test answer from. He went, can you give me examples of cheating? And it's like, cheating on a test. And he's like, cheat sheet. Right, I have the answers. And then I try to parse that out, and then just complete nonsense. Using performance-enhancing drugs in sports. Lying about eligibility to enter a competition. And then they throw the definition of rule breaking, and that's also where it gets stupid, because, like, I'm not dumb enough to figure out where this person is possibly coming from, because they're just like, oh, all cheating requires rule breaking, but not all rule breaking is cheating, therefore you can break the rules and not have it be cheating. That applies to something like throwing litter on the ground in a competition venue if you're just, like, super disrespectful. Even unsporting behavior has an argument for disadvantage, because if you're using it to, like, emotionally distress someone, that can affect how they play the game, so you are creating a disadvantage by doing unsporting actions or using slurs and stuff like that. So that actually is a form of cheating. I've also seen bafflingly stupid comments in the past, like, oh, so if you're using the wrong kind of shoelaces in soccer, it's cheating? It's whatever the punishment in the rules is, and that's, like, how it's all dictated and stuff, and then you have to have, you know, at least 70 IQ to understand how those things are going to interact. And we also have to see what the rules say about it. The punishment for hacked Pokemon is disqualification, because they greatly alter the game and they are expressly forbidden. The punishment for a mild uniform infraction or something is going to be either nothing, a warning, or, you know, something incredibly minor. And then it goes off the rails. This person is shadowboxing a straw man with the help of ChatGPT, and they also debunk themselves. Is it still cheating without an unfair advantage? Generally, no, which means there's going to be exceptions to that rule. Cheating typically requires intent to gain an unfair advantage. So that means there's atypical situations where it can still be cheating without a direct advantage. So without that, it may still be rule breaking, but not cheating in the full ethical or definitional sense. So you have to rely on the vague interpretations of morality through the lens of ChatGPT to still be wrong. Awesome. And then ChatGPT is just straight up wrong. Example scenario to clarify. Scenario A, no advantage at all. A student looks at another's paper during a test but doesn't copy anything, Rule broken, yes. Looking. Cheating, arguably no. No advantage gained, and no deception was completed. That's just a complete lie. You are deceiving the proctor if you are breaking the rules to attempt to gain an advantage. It's still cheating because you would have no incentive to look at someone else's paper if you weren't trying to gain advantageous information from it. The problem is this person's trying to do something that AI is weakest at, which is reasoning. AI is not good at reasoning yet, so what's happening is we have idiots that are using ChatGPT for their own confirmation bias, and now everyone is confidently wrong, and they just get stupider from it. And then maybe I accidentally just prove that the simulation is real, because as I'm having this argument, I get this tweet in my feed. Hefty 206-page research paper, findings are concerning. LLM users consistently underperformed at neural, linguistic, and behavioral levels. This study finds LLM dependence weakens the writer's own neural and linguistic fingerprints. Relying on EEG, text mining, crossover session, the authors show that keeping some AI-free practice protects memory circuits and encourages richer language even when a tool is later reintroduced. And the thing is, we shouldn't need a study to know this. Like, yeah, of course, people are just going to overly use LLMs and dumb themselves down. I mean, we're seeing that with all the tweet replies. At Grok, is this true? Another problem is when people do something ironically, and then it just turns them into NPCs and they get dumbed down anyways. I remember a decade ago, I got in arguments with so many people because, like, yo, social media is making everyone mentally ill. These were bum lefty friends that tried to blame all their problems with society and the rise in depression on late-stage capitalism and stuff, or not having $15 minimum wage, where it's like, no, it's just online usage. Imagine not using Twitter and social media all day, every day, and developing a skill and then increasing your worth in the marketplace and job economy, instead of engaging with negativity and socialism all day until you just become hateful. And then it turns out, like, oh yeah, being terminally online is a thing, and it's directly correlated with rise in depression. Wow, who would have guessed? Consequences? Might still face consequences as a rule violation, but the moral gravity is lower. If you look at someone else's test on the SAT and you get caught, you're disqualified, regardless if you copied an answer or not. The moral gravity is not lower. You still attempted to break the rules in a disqualifying way. Conclusion, cheating is not just about breaking the rules, it's about breaking trust by trying to gain an unfair edge. So here's where I checkmate them. Definition of fair, conforming with the established rules. Breaking rules, unfair by definition. See, that's what I mean, like, that's the inherent thing that this person is too stupid to understand about a kindergarten word. Fairness is like one of the first things you learn about. If rules are broken, it's unfair. So an advantage is where it's escalated from a simple rule break to cheating, and having more time and resources is an unfair advantage. That's why I already elaborated on way up here. So it's like, yeah, we're already at it, because there's no, oh, everyone has accessibility to rule breaking, therefore it's fair. It's like, no, rule breaking is in that somewhere, therefore it's always unfair, regardless of accessibility. So me completely debunking them causes the most insane mental breakdown. Bro, I didn't make any of that up. I literally just copy and pasted it. You are wrong. I didn't make any of that up. I literally just copy and pasted it. You are wrong. I didn't make any of that up. I just copy and pasted it. In the context of gaming and esports, the distinction between cheating and rule breaking, oh my god, and then it's more chat GPT nonsense. You don't get an unfair advantage if everyone has the same access. You don't get an unfair advantage if everyone has the same access. You don't get an unfair advantage if everyone has the same access. You don't get an unfair advantage if everyone has the same access. I only turbo spam because you seem to be nudged to reread certain elements. The first pass, you didn't seem to grasp. I mean, right here, the word fair. It doesn't matter if everyone has the same access. If the rules are broken, it's no longer fair. Usage cheating, prove it. I've provided many definitions from various sources. The dude using ChatGPT as the ultimate authority is now him giving many definitions and various sources. Prove it, because from all the sources, it does not fit the criteria for cheating. See, that's another problem with them just pasting in ChatGPT. They don't have any logic. They don't have any conclusion. They're not making an argument themselves. And as I showed, there's also going to be problems with ChatGPT that debunk him with his own posts. And tragically, that's where this comes to an end, because I have to reiterate, definition of fairness proves you wrong. Doesn't matter if everyone has access. The moment the rules are broken, it's unfair. Source, definition of unfair. You lose. Thanks for playing. and they might have actually had a stroke. Bro, I cannot imagine how bad that must feel if you're smugly using ChatGPT to use an argument. You put in an input from the person you're arguing with, and then ChatGPT agrees with them, and then you're just out. You just lose. So yeah, one of the most insane interactions I've had over cheating in Pokemon, which says a lot. Like, I am baffled it's gotten this bad, but that's what's happening. Like, people just get dumber and dumber every day, more toxic, more entitled, more evil, and this is where the results are going, guys. Hope you all enjoy the video. Hope you have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.